This week, a happily married man shares his opinions on marriage and his level of envy of single men. Are most married people jealous of single people? Or are singles more envious of married couples? And later, a listener asks if love even matters since her partner checks the rest of her boxes. Welcome to the talking phase. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Talking Phase podcast. My name is Tom and I am joined by my incredible co-host Pam. She's amazing, as everybody knows. Pam, what's happening?
Well, I'm so busy being amazing, so I barely have time to think about anything else. Well, I can't believe it's the end of February. I feel like time has moved at warp speed, especially here on the talking phase. I'm still pretty tired of being cold. I feel like I talk about that every week, but for those that don't know, I'm originally from Florida. I've been in North Carolina for 17 years, almost 18 years now, and I will never get used to winter. I love the other 3 seasons, but winter is the bane of my existence. And it's terrible for dating. Terrible. I mean, like, who gets excited about going on a date, like finding a nice pair of jeans and a sweater that doesn't make you look frumpy and a big old coat? Like, who even wants to go outside when your face hurts to meet somebody that you've met on a dating app? It is very, very unmotivating. So I'm ready for this part to end. But then I realized that I keep telling myself that dating will be better in the spring. I think I do this every year. It's going to get better in the spring because it can't possibly be good in the winter. But if I've been doing that for years, then the spring, I probably have to tell myself that it'll get better in the summer. So clearly I'm the problem. And at the end of the day, I can't lie because I have been pretty happy without the stress of just being in a relationship. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think if I could bypass all of the dating it takes to get in a relationship and just hop right into a good relationship, I would do that. But in the meantime, I'm having a really, really good time. I'm
Good.
enjoying the house, enjoying the peace, enjoying seeing my kids all the time, but not all of the time. I mean, it's just been really great. So that's what's going on with me. It's not much is new in February. What is new in February in Utah?
Well, you just said something that I hadn't really thought about. You said, who wants to find a sweater that doesn't make you look frumpy or something? I don't remember how you said it, but it dawned on me last weekend. Laura and I went out we went out, and it's the first time since we've only dated during the winter. So she's always worn sweaters and coats and all the stuff that you were just talking about.
Right.
And we went out to this show and she was wearing, it was still a sweater, but it was more form fitting.
Oh,
And I realized it's the first time that I've seen her in a form fitting anything, top. And it was a very pleasant view, I'll be honest, but you just saying that it was just something that reminded me that last week she opened the door and I went, holy crap. It was like I just hadn't seen this, so very exciting.
but clearly, Tom, you're letting us all know that you haven't seen this because you were so excited by what you saw.
Yeah.
You're kind of letting us know where the relationship stands.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Anyway,
boobies, yay!
Yes. So the yes,
I'm dying.
That's great. So
Oh.
so what's going on with me? Let's see. The day that this drops, this is dropping on February 28th. So tomorrow I will be 57 years old.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. On the day of our Lord 1968, March 1st, 1968, Tom Milligan joined planet Earth, and nothing was ever the same after that. But
I'm just
anyway,
excited to have you join me in the 57 club.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So Pam is no longer older than me.
Yes.
We're the same age again.
I love it.
Other than that, heading out to see Quiet Riot tonight.
Jesus, you guys are always seeing some kind of heavy metal concert.
Yeah, we love it. So there you go. So we just found a way to do it. But so life is pretty damn good. Not going to dig into that any further. And instead of introducing Brian, like we do sometimes. Brian, rather than asking how you're doing, I'm going to ask you to kind of be a quasi guest on the show today. I've got a couple of quick questions for you. Is that okay?
Oh, I feel like I'm on like a dating game, Tom. This is fun.
Oh,
Hey,
that's right. At the end, I'll say, how did the date end?
can Brian be like on the screen so that people on YouTube can see Brian?
Ooh, that's up to Brian.
Oh, let's see if I can actually get a good vision here. Because I got very bright lights behind me.
Fix your makeup.
There we go. All right.
Oh,
All
there
right.
he is.
So Brian is online.
Brian Nichols.
All you women who wonder about Brian, this is your chance to get on YouTube or Spotify and you can see the video live.
Yeah, this is great. So here we go. So the reason I wanted to talk to Brian today is because, well, even though I'm in a really great relationship with Laura right now, things are going well. It's still brand new. But I also look at our friend Brian and I'm a little bit jealous. Not only of these incredibly good looks. I mean, let's just face it. Brian,
he's very handsome.
Don't think I haven't noticed.
Hairline.
Hey, that's okay. But I think you'll see why I'm jealous in just a minute. So, Brian, I'm just going to ask you 3 or 4 questions I've got written down here. Most of them are kind of on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. Okay. 1 being not at all, and 10 being like 100%. Okay.
Roger.
Here we go. Question number 1. Scale of 1 to 10. How much do you love being married?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Look at that. No hesitation whatsoever.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too. Next question. Scale of 1 to 10. I know I make you travel for work a lot. Sorry about that. How much do you hate being away from home?
Oh, 10. Not even a question.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
And next one. How much do you love coming home to her?
Not even a question. 10.
Duh.
Well, again, maybe sometimes. Okay, here we go. Next one. This is not 1 to 10. Can you imagine ever wanting her not to be there for any reason when you get home?
Nope.
Okay. Even if you had a shitty trip or a shitty day at work, do you still want her to be there?
I need her there. Yeah.
Okay.
Aww.
And the last question, do you ever look at any of your single friends? And probably don't look at me because we're different age groups and you hear this podcast every week and you go, holy shit, that would suck. But think about the rest of your friends. Do you ever look at any of your single friends and feel envy?
I used to, but not anymore.
Oh, wait a minute. What do you mean by that? Help us understand.
Yeah, and maybe it's because when I became a dad, I lost a lot of my free time. I used to be up at 4 a.m. doing like all these extra things to like, do side businesses and helping with podcasting and mentoring and coaching. I used to love doing that stuff. And I would, be to bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And then when I became a dad, I mean, your entire life changes, right? And all your priorities change. And for the best of ways. I truly would never trade being a dad for anything. But I guess looking back to when it was like just us, there were times I was a little jealous, not so much in terms of like jealous that you can go out and date, but it was more so jealous that it felt like they had more air quote freedom. Because they, I'm just gonna go to the gym, right? I'm just gonna go work out. I'm gonna go spend 2 hours doing whatever. And it used to feel more like, oh, I'm, I have to do this with my wife. But then it really changed. Like I'd say probably 1 year, 2 years. And we've been dating for a long, long time at that point too, into our marriage though, where I was like, no, like I love hanging out at home with my wife. I love when we go out and do things together. Like this is something that my friends don't get to do. When I hear them complaining about how bad the dating life and market is, sorry guys. But like I hear that, right? And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I get to go home to my best friend.
That is so awesome. So that thank you, Brian, and feel free to stick around as much as you want here. That is why I'm jealous. Besides the good looks, but I don't think Brian's jealous of my life. And he, even if it had been during those first year or two of your marriage where you said you might have been jealous of your single friends a little bit, I don't think he would have been jealous of my life. But the thing is though, I'm jealous of Brian because of the way he said that. You see that no hesitation whatsoever. Scale of 1 to 10, 10, love her, want to be with her. She's my best friend. Do you ever want her not to be there? No, I need her there. I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, I want that.
Nobody I know doesn't want that.
Exactly. So anyway, so that's what I want to talk about a little bit today is this either,
bye, Brian.
This either real or perceived jealousy between married people and single people. And by the way, just so that we're all speaking the same language here, when I say married, I don't necessarily mean like with a actual marriage certificate. I mean married. To me, I'm going to say married, but I mean people who've been living together who are in a cohabitation situation, not
Right.
just dating. That's just, I'm going to use married because it's easier to say. Everyone good with that? Good. So with
Yes, they
that,
are.
Pam, I
Yes.
need to ask you not the exact same questions, but you're single. You've been single
Yeah.
for 5 years or so.
Yes.
Um, are you jealous of your married friends, or are they jealous of you?
I don't have that many married friends. I do I forget we're using married loosely. I
Right.
have friends that are in long-term relationships, and I do have some friends that are married. Um,
Wait, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I don't mean long term. I mean cohabitating. That's a very important distinction
okay,
for this
living together.
conversation.
Um, I I hate to admit this, but I think I only have 3 or 4 couples that I know that are cohabitating. And of all of the couples that I know that are cohabitating, I'd say it's split in the middle, whether they're happy or not, and it's very hard for me to not base my answer on the fact that I know whether they're happy or not. So, as far as being jealous of married people or people that are living together, um, I'm jealous of people that are in good relationships, living with somebody that they love that feels the way that Brian feels.
Mhm.
I am not jealous of the rest of the people who are kind of where I was 6 years ago, going through the motions of a bad relationship, staying in it because we have kids, staying in it because it's scary out there. So no, I'm not jealous of the people that are in relationships that I know, but I am jealous of the idea of
There
it.
you go.
You know,
I'm
like I
jealous of Brian and the idea that Brian actually is living. I'm with you 100%.
Brian's very young. In my 30s, in the beginning of my marriages, and I've been married twice, I didn't want anything other than to be married. I was very happy in the beginning. In each relationship, I had a child. I felt the way he does about having a child and a partner. Um, I definitely don't want to go back in time to those relationships. But at 57, I still am holding out. I hate to use the word hope because, it either is or it isn't. But like, I was talking to a friend on the phone today for a long time. We were talking about just how hard dating is. And I said, I am waiting for my unicorn. But if I don't meet them, I'm focusing on what I have. And what I have is the ability to have a great life without a significant other. And
Mhm.
so I'm trying to stay focused on a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'm trying to stay focused on what I can have. I don't have control over somebody coming into my life and showing me that they're the person I've been waiting for my whole life. If they show up, they show up. I don't get to have control over that. I don't know if I
Yeah.
answered your question, but
Yeah, no, I think you did. And I'll tell you, it's funny because as we were thinking about the getting ready for this show, I started, I wrote down those questions for Brian, and and Brian, once again, thank you for being honest about that. Um, I hope you were honest. Um,
Mhm.
for for your marriage's sake.
If his wife listens to the show, then she's gonna be happy.
But I was thinking about those questions, and I'm like, okay, so why is it that that what is it about Brian's life that I like? I mean, clearly, having someone to come home to after a trip. We both travel a lot for work, and we both go to the office. Uh, Brian has a different office than I do, but we both go to the office. We both go home. I come home to an empty apartment. Brian goes home to a loving wife. Um, I enjoy cooking, and most of my favorite memory, not most, a lot of my favorite memories from my marriage was cooking together, just because it's kind of building something. I know it's kind of silly, but um, all these things that Brian has in his life. Like the other night, Laura was over here. We're watching a show. and something really cool happened in this show. We're watching Day of the Jackal. If you haven't watched it, holy shit.
I love it. I'm on
Wow.
episode 5.
And anyway, something like totally crazy happened, and I paused it, and we both were looking at each other like, holy shit. And we end up talking about it for a minute or two. That's cool. You don't do that unless you're together.
I love that.
And then another one, grocery shopping. I know it's dumb. I miss grocery shopping with my partner. How dumb is that?
Dumb.
But the other thing is, I like to take care of someone, and I don't mean like, I just like to serve the people I love, and I don't have that. I mean, yes, I can serve Laura, but she lives 45 minutes away, and I don't see her every day, so it's different. But then here's the other thing. So those are the things that I'm jealous of. But as I thought about it, going, okay, what are the things I'm not jealous of? It's the same damn list. Sometimes I want to come home to an empty apartment.
Yeah.
I want to cook alone. I want to cook whatever the hell I want and not have to worry about making somebody else happy with it.
Right.
Sometimes I don't want to pause a show. I want to just keep watching. And so I go through that same list. I'm like, shit, what does this mean for me?
Well, I mean, when I listen to your list, I mean, when you talk about the wonderful things about being in a relationship, like I feel all of those things. Those are the things that I miss about being in a relationship. And you didn't even like venture into travel, like
Right.
I want to be able to wake up on it. Like I remember when I was married, I woke up on a Thursday and we weren't living together yet, but we were talking about it. And I called him and I said, let's go on a cruise. We were living in Florida. I said, let's go on a cruise. It leaves tomorrow. It comes back Monday. My treat. Let's go. And we went on that cruise.
That's awesome.
Like, who am I going to call to go on a cruise with me for 4 days? Like, if I want to just take a 2.5-hour drive to the beach or the mountains, having somebody that you can do those things with is not overrated. But I'm not positive you need to be living with somebody to do those things. You just need to be in a good, solid relationship. You're already doing a lot of the things with her that I wish I had somebody to do with, and you don't live together. For me, I think that the living together part is overrated. And I would love somebody to come along and change my mind and for me to be like, I need to be with you all of the time. If I'm not with you, I'm just going to be thinking about being with you. I remember feeling that way before I got married. That was 25 years ago. So I can't imagine somebody coming along and making me feel that way. But again, if we're talking unicorns, and if there's a unicorn out there, I hope that he finds me because I would love to feel that way. But in the meantime, I'd like all those things. Someone to cook with, someone to talk about the show with, somebody to travel with. I don't even need them to live with me. I just need that type of relationship. My marriage was so bad that I needed to take years to get my head on straight after that. And I always thought I would grow old with somebody. And
Sure.
now I spend a lot of time thinking about what does it look like if I do always come home to an empty house. Well, quite honestly, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was. And it's a big house, but it's not that bad. I don't know that I want to share my space with somebody else. So I'm just like you. I mean, and we've talked about this in prior episodes. It is a very big divide between wanting to live happily ever after in the same house with somebody and having your own space, your privacy, do whatever you want, fart whenever you want, sleep when you want, wake up, whatever music's playing is whatever you want. I mean, there are really great arguments for both things.
Yeah. And so I always wonder, is it really about being, I want this or that, or is it just the grass is always greener on the other side? Is that how this all comes up?
God, that's such a great question. When I was married, I didn't think the grass is greener when you're single. I thought I'm going to meet somebody who's going to make me much happier than he does. And that will make the grass greener. And I never met somebody who did make my life so much better. But I learned how to make my own life so much better,
Hmm.
even without a significant other. When you're dating, you see that a lot of people have this like fear just in them. They're dating with intent, but like they're terrified of what happens if one of these people they're dating doesn't become their boyfriend or their significant other or their last relationship. It's just that it reeks of desperation, and I don't want to go to that place ever. And so I think right after my marriage and my divorce, I did think I needed to be in a relationship. I did think the grass was greener with somebody who would love and appreciate me and not walk all over me and talk down to me and just treat me like shit. I just needed somebody to appreciate me for who I am. And it's been 5 years, and I've met plenty of people who I think would have fit the bill for that, but just whether it's lack of chemistry or not having enough in common or just all of the things that go wrong when you're just in the dating phase with people, it didn't work out long term. And so you wind up with a lot more time alone than you do with somebody. And in that case, you have to do what's going to make you happy and be with people that are going to bring you joy, even if it's not the love of your life.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, again, I spent a lot of time thinking about this because, uh, you know, I'm in a relationship, for the first time in a while, and it's going well, and so my brain thinks, okay, 6 months from now, a year from now, how does this look?
Mm.
Um, and that's what got me thinking about this. Is it better to be what was that episode we did, together apart, or what is that called?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Together Apart or
Yeah, living
Together-ish.
together apart or something like that.
Together-ish.
Yeah, together-ish.
But that is the movement. It's called Living Apart Together.
Yeah, and I think I said then, and I still think I don't like that. I mean, even though I said that my lists are the same, the reasons I want to be with someone and the reasons I don't, I think I have to lean on the I would like to be with someone, because I do like that. It's hard for me to imagine a real partnership unless you're together, and that's just me.
Living together.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that that's how everyone should feel. I'm just saying that's for me. But as I was preparing for this and thinking about it, about why people are jealous or not jealous and stuff like that, I ran across an article in Psychology Today that actually said, and I'm gonna cut all the way to the credits and say I think this is horseshit. Okay, just utter and complete horseshit. They said that singles aren't jealous. They've just been taught by society that being married is preferable, so they're ashamed. So Psychology Today magazine literally said that anybody who's single and thinks that it's better to be married, it's because they've been shamed by society into thinking that. And I'm
Oh,
going, that's horseshit. I'm not ashamed of being single. I'm not shamed into wanting to be in a marriage or a cohabitation situation. It's just I've been single and I've been in a decent marriage, and I prefer the decent marriage part. That's, to
right.
me, that's it. So there's no shame. What do you think?
Well, what I think is that whoever wrote that article wrote it 10 years ago. Um, I think we're living in a society now where almost everybody that I'm friends with is dating, but we're all single. And there's no shame in being single. There's nothing embarrassing about it. There's also no shame or embarrassment in the fact that we are open to meeting somebody that would make our lives better. But when we sit down and talk, and I have dinner tonight with one group of girls and dinner tomorrow night with a different group of girls. And no matter how many people I get together with, and no matter how many female friends I have, we all seem to have the same school of thought. And that is that we would rather be single forever than be in a bad relationship. And that's not to say that your list is not right. I do remember when we were talking about living apart together, you did come down strongly on not being for that. But then in the following episode, I remember saying I converted you because you were saying I really enjoy my space and I could imagine being in a relationship and not giving up your space. And that has always kind of been my goal over the last couple of years. I mean, that's not to say that there's not something very comforting about the idea of living with your person and waking up to them and going to sleep with them. And I talk about Nikki and Adam, that's my daughter and her boyfriend, all the time. And there's no question in my mind that they love living together. And they will be a great married couple also. We were all great married couples at some point, most of us in our lives.
Yep.
But here's the thing. I do believe firmly that the right relationship is going to fill the void of being in your house alone, whether you're living with that person or not. If I'm in a great, loving relationship with somebody and we're not living together, I'm still going to be perfectly happy watching TV or making myself something to eat and eating in front of the television and talking to them on the phone for an hour or two or texting throughout the evening. I feel like my life can be full whether I live with somebody or am married to somebody in a relationship, but it can also be full if I don't find that person or if that person doesn't find me. Because if I think any other way, it's going to be depressing and I'm going to start to feel like these women who seem really desperate to me. And I don't want that. Like, it's so unappealing. Like these chronic daters who are just, their goal in life is to find someone, and it's anyone.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be like that. At 57, what do we have? Like 20, 30, 40 more really great, vigorous years. I'm giving us tons of grace. I would like them to be peaceful and good and kind and calm. And you know what? I love my friends. And if I find a man who loves me that I love, that will be the icing on the cake, but it will not be the whole cake.
Yeah. So so to me, something happened earlier this week. And again, this was not in my notes, but I will say, I don't remember what night it was this week. I came home from work. Laura and I didn't make any plans that night. I came home from work. I think I ran over to the grocery store and, did a couple of small errands, but it's like 6:30 at night. I'm done with everything for the day. And so, like you, I sat down and I'm going to watch a show. And I'm in the middle of Sons of Anarchy right now. And by the way, Clay is a fucker and that guy needs to die.
Such a good show.
God, I hate that guy though. Anyway, I finish, I'm watching the show and I know that Laura is just sitting at home because we were texting, and it's not like we're texting every 2 minutes. We do not have that kind of a thing. It's, every hour.
Sporadically.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I know she's just sitting at home. She's watching a show. And I remember thinking the other night, what a waste. I could be sitting here holding hands. Well, I could be sitting here cuddling. We could be together, yet we're both apart. And my brain immediately went, wow, we wasted a night. We could have been together.
Is she watching Sons of Anarchy?
No. She was watching, I don't remember what she was watching.
I'm just making a point that you have shows that you like to watch alone. And so that's.
Oh, no. She's watched it all. We like the same shows, but she's watched them. I don't know how I missed Sons of Anarchy. I don't either.
I put it on your list a long time ago.
Yeah, you did. And by the way, you're going to hate me for this. I tried to watch Lost. I can't get into it. I know it's your favorite show of all time, but I couldn't get into it. Maybe I'll try it again someday. But anyway, to me, not being together felt like a waste. As opposed to, I got a night alone, it felt like I wasted a night. And that's kind of the mentality that my brain is. So when I think about how we started this, where I'm kind of jealous of Brian because he doesn't waste nights. He gets to go home to his best friend. He gets to say, and again, the way that Brian, I got to tell you, I loved your response when I said, have you ever not wanted her there when you've had a bad day? And you said, oh no, I need her there. That was awesome. I kind of teared up a little bit.
Well, and like we all have those terrible days, and like it's one thing. Like I remember back before my wife, and like you have those terrible days, and you just sit there by yourself, and to be able to talk through things with someone who, like, they have a vested interest in your life, and like she loves me and can tell me hard truths and can tell me, when I'm doing good and when I'm doing bad, and like just to be able to have someone there that I know is like they truly have my best interest at heart. Like that's something just you can't put into words. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I had that.
My jealousy.
I thought I had that for a little while. It just didn't last. So kudos to Brian.
Yeah. Well, I think we've butchered that enough. You have anything else you want to say at the end of this, Pam?
No, I think that, people listening to the show hopefully feel better listening to us talk about how, no matter which side you're on, if you're in a serious relationship, if you're single, it's not hopeless. And, the best thing that you can do today is work on what's within your grasp. And we don't control what other people do. So, you know what? Do the best that you can to make yourself happy right now, and if someday you find yourself in that healthy relationship that allows you to have both freedom and the ability to love someone again, then you have found your unicorn. And if not, then be your own unicorn.
There you go. Love it. Be a unicorn. I
Be
love
your
that.
own unicorn.
So
I
before
just
we
I
move
just came up
on,
with that. That wasn't in my notes.
oh, there you go. There's Pam winging it.
I don't have any notes.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Before we move on, like I do every single week at this point, take a minute right now if you can, rate and review the show. It really, really helps us grow the Talking Phase family. We love those ratings and reviews, not just because most of them are nice. Most people are nice to us and give us 5 stars. By the way, that would be great too. But what we really care about is that you like the show and that you share it and that you rate and review it, and it really does help grow the family. So
Thank
with
you. Thank
that,
you.
yes, thank you for everything that you do for us. With that, let's get on to this next segment.
You've got mail.
Takes me right back to when I had a relationship. Okay, so hi Pam and Tom. Hi Pam and Tom, longtime listener. I find myself in one of those messy situations, and I'm hoping you can help me make sense of it. We will sure try. We're really
Sure.
good. I've been dating this guy for 2 years. He's kind, supportive, funny, and checks so many boxes I thought I needed in a partner. But lately, I've been wrestling with the nagging question: do I love him or am I in love with him? We get
Ooh.
along great. I truly care about him, but I don't know if I feel the spark people talk about when they're quote unquote in love. Is it supposed to feel like fireworks all the time, or does it naturally settle into something quieter and more comfortable? And here's the kicker: does it even matter? I'm scared that I'm overthinking this and ruining something good, but I'm equally scared of staying in a relationship that might not be quote unquote it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how to tell the difference and whether this distinction is even worth stressing over. Thanks so much for doing what you do. Best, what's love got to do with it? What's love got to do? Got to do with it?
Sing it,
Tom.
Pam.
What's love got to do with it, Tom? What do you think? Do you need
Well,
those sparks and butterflies?
well, we've had this conversation at least partially a couple of times, and I would say my initial answer is yes. You do need the sparks, you do need the butterflies, but to answer, how did she sign it? What's love got to do with it? To answer that question, yeah, it does naturally settle into something quieter and more comfortable. The butterflies and sparks, it's not going to be, maybe it's a firecracker here and there, as opposed to the 4th of July show over Washington D.C. after a time. But
Right.
in my personal opinion, if there's never been a spark, that's a problem. If there's never been that it factor, I don't know if you can create it out of whole cloth. I think it has to be there or it's not. And then you work your way over time. And I'm going to say 7 years because that's where the 7-year itch comes from, is that you during those first 7 years of your relationship, that's supposed to be the spark time. It's
Oh,
after
7
7.
years.
That's what they say. And again, I
Oh,
don't know.
I never heard
After
that.
7 years, you've gone into this, hey, we're just together. Yes, I love you, but I don't get butterflies every time I see you. That's kind of the theory behind it. So to answer that one question, yes, things settle in. And does it even matter? Again, I think it does. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they've been together 2 years. Let me go back really quick. They've been together 2 years. She really cares about him. I don't know if she ever had the spark or not because she
Right.
doesn't say. Um, it seems like she's hyper focused on the words love and in love.
Mhm.
And, I look back on my life and I think, when I said I love you to my ex, I I meant I love you. I don't know that I overthought it to the point of, am I still in love with him? Even at the end when things were terrible, we were saying, I love you. Um, Was I in love with him? I don't know. I definitely had the spark in the beginning. I definitely had those butterflies. And I asked myself, is being in love, feeling those butterflies and that pit in your gut, or is that just nerves because you're nervous and it's new and you don't want to screw it up? Like, I think that too many people get hung up on those feelings being, oh, this is the real thing because I feel these butterflies and I feel sick to my stomach and I'm thinking about him obsessively all the time. And I have been in relationships with people that I look back on and realize how unhealthy they were, but I obsessed over them. And Yeah, I wouldn't go back to that. Like, do you need to feel a spark? You need to feel something, and you can call it whatever you want. Um, you need to look at that person and be able to see the future with them. You need to look at that person and be excited about what you're doing next with that person. But I think that truly loving someone doesn't need to make you uncomfortable. It doesn't need to make you feel any of those nauseating feelings. I would choose no butterflies. I would choose not to have those butterflies or spark for a healthy relationship where I am just calm and feel really good about that person any day of the week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree, except for I don't know if butterflies and stuff are nervousness. Like when I go see Laura now, for example, I'm not nervous, but I still get excitement. It's not butterfly. I don't get the butterfly thing. In fact, I'm not sure I even understand what that means. But the- I, I get excited. I'm excited to see her, and if I weren't excited, I wouldn't be seeing her. That to me, that's an important thing. And to some it's not, I guess, but that doesn't compute in the computer up in Tom's brain that you want to be with someone that you don't get excited about being with. That just doesn't make any sense. Um, and so I remember you were saying something about, or what's love got to do with it? Said, um, I love him, but am I in love with him? And my sister-in-law, Deneen, asked me literally that exact same question as my first marriage was ending. And she said, do you still love her? And I said, well, of course I love her, but I can't stand her. And that to me, so, and then she said, so you love her, but you're not in love with her.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah. And that makes sense. At the time, I thought it was just kind of like, what a stupid little statement. That was kind of a stupid little, it was a very popular thing to say back then. Oh, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But it does make sense now. Because I really did. I guess I still love her to a certain extent. She's the mother of my children. I love her. She's a great mom, blah, 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 blah. But man, I don't want to spend even 5 seconds with her. Can't
Right.
stand her. So anyway, I think that's kind of where that goes. But there was a spark when we first met, and it lasted about 7 years, ironically. And then, we ended up a year and a half in litigation, and so we got divorced at about 9.5 years. So, anyway, the bottom line is, I think that if there's not a spark at the beginning, you're not going to create a spark. I don't think. I could be
If
wrong.
it's important. Right. No, I agree with you. If there's no, like, I even have on my dating profile searching for that spark, because whether it's nerves, whether it's anxiety, whether it's stress, whether it's all things that come with dating in the very beginning, not knowing what somebody else is feeling or thinking, it shows that you care what somebody else is thinking or feeling. And if you don't care what the other person is thinking or feeling, then what are you doing? Like, if they're not on your mind, if they're not something that you look forward to, if all of these things don't add up, then you're kind of just wasting your time. But she asked, is it supposed to feel like fireworks all the time? My answer would be no. Nothing feels like fireworks all the time, but it should feel really, really good a lot of the time. And
Mhm.
then she asked, does it naturally settle into something quieter or more comfortable? And my answer to that is absolutely yes. If
Mhm.
you're in a healthy relationship, you know, I think it's a beautiful thing when something starts out exciting and just passionate and you just can't get enough of that person, and then you spend years with them and you still look forward to seeing them, but it's just not as obsessive as it is in the beginning of a relationship. You settle into something that, yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel calm and secure and comfortable. And that's the goal to me. Not to not be excited about that person. I mean, like I was still excited about my ex, even when we've been together 5, 6, 7 years. We were fighting a lot and there were a lot of things going wrong. But at the same time, like I would get in my mind, I'm going to plan a dinner. I'm going to buy him something that he loves. And I'd get so excited at the prospect of giving it to him and how he was going to react when I gave it to him. So there are ways to keep those sparks alive. But you guys have been together for 2 years. Doesn't matter if you love him or you're in love with him. I'm not sure that there's a huge difference at 2
Yeah.
years. If you really enjoy spending your time with him and you can see a future with him and he lights you up, then I think that you love him, and don't get caught up on semantics.
Yeah, but she says that he doesn't light her up. I mean, that's the whole point, right? That's what she's wondering. He doesn't light me up, so what do I do?
What did she say that?
Well,
She
no,
said
she
he
didn't
checks
use the
her
term light me
boxes,
up, but she's certainly there's certainly
get
not
along
a
great. She said, yeah, she did. She said, I don't know if I feel that spark. She said, I don't know if I feel that spark that people talk about when they're in love. And how do you know what somebody else is feeling
yeah,
when they're telling you, oh, I'm head over heels in love? For all you know, they're head over heels infatuated or they have a crush. I don't think that you should be comparing yourself to other people. I
agreed.
think you
It's
need
all
to
about you,
focus.
what you
Right,
feel.
right. You want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that?
No, it's just what you were saying. I'm sorry I interrupted you though.
No, I don't mind you interrupting. I want to know what you think. I feel like I spend a lot of time saying what I think.
Well,
So,
to me, it like really it does. You can't say, "Hey, my girlfriend said that I should feel this way," and if you don't feel that way, you're doing it wrong. I mean, you have to do what's right for you, not what's right for her. And so, if you feel that you love this man, stay.
heck
If
yeah.
you if you feel something's missing, first off, we say it almost every time. Talk to him. Have the conversation. Maybe you need some counseling, either individual or couples therapy. But this isn't. I mean, you have to make that decision. But I will say, um, um, I see you got a couple of options. I mean, you're worried about ruining something, and great, you've been with him 2 years. That's a pretty good investment, right? And you said that he checks
Yeah.
most of your boxes, I think is what she said, which I think is great because we talked about my list and the boxes that need to be checked. And one of those boxes for me is this chemistry, the spark. If there's not that spark, that's one of the boxes, and all the boxes are equally important. We're not grading on
Right.
a curve. It's they all pass or they don't, none of them pass is the way it works for me. So if there's no chemistry, I'm out. I'm out, period. And if there's no spark. And by the way, that's not all about sex. It's, can I sit there at dinner and just be as excited to be there with her? If that spark is there, it's whatever. But in my opinion, you've just got two choices. You can either calculate and work to fix it, or you get out, because the bottom line is life is too short to feel like you've settled for just good enough.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that she even has a problem. For all I know from reading this email, everything is really great, and she's just been watching too many movies or reading too many books. I feel like we get really caught up in what we're supposed to be feeling based on a lot of these romantic movies and this magic that they portray love as. But after 2 years, if you still really look forward to seeing him and you can imagine a future with him and it's mutual and you love him no matter how you want to phrase love, I feel like I don't even know that you need what are you going to go to therapy for? I mean, you need to understand, if you sit down and have a conversation with him and you say, I don't know if I'm in love with you based on what you think people talk about according to your email, it's a very good possibility that he's going to say, well, you know what? I want somebody who knows that they're in love with me, and he's gone. So before you sit down and have a conversation with him about this, I think you really need to do a lot of thinking on your own about how much this person means to you and whether you can see the rest of your life with them. If you think you're settling, by all means, have a conversation, get out of this relationship, find somebody that gives you butterflies or makes you feel the way the movies make it look, or your friends say you should feel. But I don't think it's all that it's cracked up to. If, does it have to be good? Do you have to want it? Yes. Does it have to be, the end all be all of exciting all of the time? No, it just has to feel really good.
Yeah. Before we end this, I will say I read a book a long time ago called Good to Great, and it's a business book, so I'm not going to get into what it says, but there's one statement in there that made a lot of sense. It says, good is the enemy of great. So, so we deserve, all of us deserve a great relationship and a great life, not just a good one. We deserve a great one. So if your
Right.
life can be great with this guy and your relationship can be great, make it so. And if it can't, again, that's what I think. It's just good enough is not good enough. It's
It also has to do with how old she is, what she's been through in her life. I feel like I definitely understand what you're saying. And I definitely, everybody knows that listens to the show that I am waiting for a unicorn. So I am clearly waiting for something that really lights me up, that really makes me feel better than I do as a single person. But I don't want to give people the impression that it's so easy to end something that's really good and go back out there and find something that's really great. I mean, before you do that, you really need to do some long time with yourself and figure out if you're really ready to walk away from something that is really good. I mean, so I guess we kind of differ on this. I, after 2 years, would probably not walk away from something. Good enough is one way of putting it, but I think something that's really good, something that adds to my life, even though it doesn't make me feel the way maybe my high school boyfriend made me feel, or certain people that came along and really just made me obsessed with them. I don't want to feel those ways again. So if her boyfriend's in his 50s and she's going to throw him back, he sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll meet him. I think somebody who treats you really well and makes you happy is good enough.
well, okay. Well, and there's where we differ. But like I said, look at your relationship and ask yourself, this is again Tom's world. Can it be great?
I'm just living in it.
Yeah. Can it be great? And if it is, do what has to be done to make it so.
So hard. I feel like
I
that's
know.
that's hard advice. You've been together 2 years, and if it's not, if you need it to be great and it's not great, you might as well just end it. But if you're happy with him, no, you don't need to feel butterflies all the time. It doesn't need to be perfect or exciting or wonderful all the time.
I agree.
So don't jump out of that boat until you're positive that you don't want to float in it anymore.
Yeah. Agreed.
Guys,
I
maybe.
agree. I mean, that's why I say if you can make it great. Now you get to define what's great, by the way. I don't
Right.
define what is great. You have to decide, what does great mean? What does perfect mean? What do you think it means to be in love, and blah, blah, blah. All the other things that you put in your
Right.
email. You decide what you want. And then you have to say, can this relationship be that?
But it's shit out there. So if you end it, just remember that you might have to make single be pretty great if you end this relationship.
Yeah. Being single is
know?
not. Yeah.
Careful there. Being single is not terrible, but it is the alternative. If you're in a relationship that you think isn't good enough and you end it to find we talked on the last episode about the grass being greener on the other side. Listen, I have been where you are in that relationship. I have ended relationships with people because I was positive I could find something that was better, more fun, more exciting. Why don't I feel this pit in my stomach? Why don't I feel these butterflies? And it's not always the best thing. It's not. Sometimes what you have is greater than you realize.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I mean, the bottom line is, I think actually even though we said we didn't necessarily agree on this, I think we actually do. The bottom line is, don't jump just because you like are bored with the relationship or
Right.
whatever.
Exactly.
Figure out if it can be what you need it to be, and then make it that. And if you
And good
can't
luck.
make it that, yeah, and good luck. Anyway,
And let
that's
us
my
know.
bottom line. Yep.
Let us know what happens. Please send us an email and let us know what you decide and let us know how it works out, because I feel invested in this one for some reason. I've made this mistake. I've gotten out too early and I've stayed too long. So
Yeah.
kudos. Good luck to you.
Good
All
luck.
right. Well, thank you for your emails, you guys. I think we were really agreeing, and then I took a sharp right turn there a little bit at the end. You can send us your requests for our wonderful insight at talkingphase@gmail.com. We will do our best to answer all of the emails, or at least let you know when we're going to read them on the show. Again, it's talkingphase@gmail.com. I read them all, you guys, and we love hearing from you. So listen, it's not just advice. It can be, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, if you saw something on TikTok or Instagram Reels and you're like, oh, this is a subject I really want Pam and Tom to delve into, ask us. We'll be happy to think about it. And that's it. Keep sending them in.
Outstanding. Want to thank everyone for listening, and want to thank Brian for taking a more active role in this week's episode.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah. So take a minute, guys. Rate and review the show on whatever app you're using to hear our voices and see our pretty faces. If you want to thank Brian for being a part of the show, this would be a great time to do that. Just a quick, hey, Brian, it was great to see you or hear you or whatever. A couple of words there help with the review side of this. Be sure to share this with your friends and family. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I think that's it. So until next Friday, since we do this every single stinking week, till next Friday, this is Pam and Tom signing off.
All right, you guys, have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great month. Have a great beginning of March. It's almost spring. We'll see.
And I'm almost 57.
Almost happy birthday to Tom.
Oh, we're going.
Sorry, I'll cut that part. Don't worry. Get going.